Toronto home sales fall off a cliff. We are at 23-year low, like historically really, really bad. But housing prices keep going up. Dun, 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 dun. Can opposites happen at the exact same time? Yeah, it most definitely can. It's what we call an oxymoron, which is a funny word to say. So if you want to know the scoop on what exactly is happening in the Toronto real estate market right now, and not be a dum-dum and read a bunch of headlines, make sure you watch the entirety of this video because I'm going to be breaking down the latest numbers that just came out from the Toronto Real Estate Board. Now, if you are someone who is thinking of making a move in the current Greater Toronto area real estate market, so going as far as Durham all the way to about the Halton area, and are unsure if it makes sense for you, because let's be real, it doesn't make sense for some people, but does for some. Because of all its uncertainty and volatility, you can find out with a no obligation free expert advice call with me using the link that's right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. And I put this out there because everyone's situation is different. And while I'm going to show you a lot of data in this video, and all of this data is in fact true because they're just numbers, there are sub-markets within the markets I'm talking about that are behaving completely differently. Plus, I always say this, everyone's financial situation is different. So, the motivation is also different, which is exactly why if you need to transact, you need to transact. But if you don't have to, you won't. And I'll tell you whether that's, which side of the, fence you're on, right? So if you want some real advice, no fluff, no pitch, you can book a call with me using the link right here, www.chatwithzen.com. Simply click on the date and the time that works best for you. And then when you see the prompt, fill in your name, email, mobile phone number, and the question you have for me. And then we'll chat then. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Properties TV. My name is Zen, and I run and operate a RE/MAX in the Greater Toronto area on top of making awesome educational real estate content just like this one for you. And if you find any of these videos helpful on your real estate journey, do me a solid and spread the knowledge by smashing that like button and subscribing to the Prime Properties channel, because that'll help me get a lot of the information I'm putting out there to a lot of the, other people who aren't watching. So, sales are falling off a cliff. 23-year low, but prices are still going up. Why? Does this not make any sense? Well, I will summarize it in one sentence for you in case you want a TikTok explanation of this. Freehold homes in the Toronto area are keeping prices up and everything else is tanking. Yeah, that's it. But if you want to learn more about why, continue watching, right? So I've said this many, many, many times before, almost countless times, that when August to September, prices are bound to go up because all the big boy freehold homes come on market and they get sold. The really good ones. It pulls the averages up. But even if you seasonally adjust it or use the silly HPI index, which by the way, it's a whole black box of data, I don't like using it, it always goes up, right? So here's the month over month summary that I always use. Prices are up 3.4%. They're up 3% from last year, meaning August to September was more than all of last year, right? But let me repeat myself again here. When you go from August to September, it is almost a guarantee prices will go up. There's only one time in the history of data that it didn't. And the average price jump is about 3.8%. We got 3.4, so right on lines with the average. And this is exactly what I was expecting because the big boy freehold homes come out. So because of the 3.4%, we're kind of within range, but that's basically where all the happy stuff ends, right? That's it. Sales are down 12% from last month, which is absurdly abnormal, really abnormal. To have more sales in the dead of August of the year, second slowest month of the year, outside of December, and more sales than September is super weird, super weird. More on that later. Now, new listings jumped 30%, which is, a little bit above the norm. It's more listings, but it's not that much more because historically we get 21% more listings. And you can see in this chart over here that, it's more listings, but we've seen more, right? So in 2008 and 2017, we had more listings in September. Now, granted, those were not banner years for sales, which is a little bit of foreshadowing of how I think this year is going to end, if you ask me. Now, for active listings, we have more than 18,000. And why 18,000 is a lot is because we've never had more than 18,000 in any month since the fall of 2010. So that means we are at a 13-year high for the amount of stuff that's on the market that hasn't been sold yet, which leaves us with the month of inventory at 4. Seems normal? No, it's not. This is abnormally high for Toronto. We usually hover around 2 and 2.5. This means that right now, 1 in 4 properties in the Greater Toronto area is selling. Now, when you look at the prices, a little bit below here, you can see exactly what I was saying earlier in the video when I was trying to summarize why sales are falling off a cliff, but prices are high. All freehold homes in Toronto went up in price. Significantly too, I would say. But condos everywhere took a huge drop because not many condos are selling right now. And the condos that are selling are coming down in price as well because 1 in 5 condos are selling. It's even worse than the freehold. And there are a lot of investors / deleveraging sellers out there that are listing these condos as tenanted right now. So they're taking less money because it's tenanted, which will bring the average down, but there's price discovery downwards. Now, when we look at the 905, it's pretty much status quo. Like it should be going up, but like it's going down a little bit, meaning the market is softening, but realistically, nothing to talk about here. Now, here is a chart reminding you where we are right now relative to, I guess, when the interest rates were starting to increase at the start of 2022. Now, prices were coming down in the summer months, but they bounced back up in September, which is, again, exactly what we expected because August and September generally has a big price bump. However, based on the months of inventory being at 4 for the entire Greater Toronto area right now, I expect prices to continue sliding, meaning that average price for the entire market should be coming down. Now, if you want to know the months of inventory, which I've always said is the biggest leading indicator for where prices are going to go, I'm going to put up a screenshot of a chart here and you can pause the video and you can screenshot it or do whatever with it and you can analyze it. It basically breaks down all the cities between like freehold and condo, and I would just call them like the bigger cities. Sorry if your city's not in there, right? And you can basically see that Durham as a region has very little inventory and the months of inventory is actually very low. And when you look at the GTA condos, with the exception of Durham, it's very, very high, meaning that it's a very, very soft market. And I would say in the current market right now, if the months of inventory is above 4 at these rates, I would expect prices to be coming down in that micro market on this chart. And you can see that freeholds are holding steady with, being around a little bit under 4. So I suspect they will have some staying power as for prices in the near future because the months of inventory is sub 4. Now, condos on the other hand, not great. Now, let me show you the gravity of how rough the market is right now. And look, before I show you this chart, I don't want to sound like I'm all doom and gloom because I'm generally just neutral and I just, provide the information as is. And even though in a doomish and gloomish kind of market right now that we're kind of in, understand that there are opportunities right now that you can take advantage of. But it takes courage to act because you're basically becoming a contrarian, right? So the people who have opportunities right now are people who are upsizing, first-time home buyers who are looking to buy a condo. This is exactly where you can get some value if you can basically handle the higher interest rates. And if you are interested in seeing if you kind of fit in that bucket, you can book a call with me using the link that's right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Now, this chart shows you the active listings in the last 5 years for every month. And you can see that September inventory is building like crazy, which is that little white dotted line. It's as high as it was in the 2018 spring and the 2019 spring, which is exactly how I think the market feels like right now. And now that I have data to show it, it matches the line with my gut feeling from earlier. Now, I do not see this changing with how high rates are. So, expect the inventory to continue building for the rest of the year, especially in October. Now, as for sales, you can see over here, it's never been this low in the last 5 years, with the exception of the pandemic and the lockdowns. Yeah. And here is the piece de resistance, the months of inventory in the last 5 years. You can see that spike of 4 months of inventory. Oh, baby, we have not had it this high in 5 years. Yeah. It is so bad that we are currently even higher than the pandemic when we were locked in our homes. Just let that sink in for a sec, right? That's how bad it is. So I foresee this number increasing in October as well, like the month of inventory, because even if like the new listings are, call it, within historic norms, I don't foresee the sales increasing drastically because of the sentiment right now. And for the realtors that are watching this, we are projected with these numbers to have fewer transactions, fewer sales than last year, which means that the piece of pie, your income, your commission or transaction volume is down significantly. Yeah, it's bad. We, as a fun fact, we are going to have less sales than we have realtors. Yeah. This means that there's like 0.7 or 0.8 sales for every realtor that's licensed in the GTA right now. Fun fact, right? Not to like sound like an old geezer right now, because I do feel like one, but experience in this market matters even more now because you want someone who has seen a market like this, right? So now let's kind of look at how historically bad we are. You can see in this chart over here, active listings have not been this high since 2007, which honestly, like, it's not sugarcoating, but like, it's not that bad. So I wouldn't say that there's a huge amount of listings, relatively speaking. It's just that there is a huge amount of listings on the market right now relative to the amount of sales we are having, meaning how many buyers are out there, because the sentiment is crap. So you can see this chart here. We are at the 23-year low in sales. It is anemic. This is why if inventory continues increasing and surging, we will, let me repeat, we will have prices go down. Now, I suspect we'll get some more listings in October, which again is the norm, but I just wonder, will we continue seeing more and more sellers for the rest of the year list their home? Because we have this weird thing in Toronto where if you're not a distressed seller, sellers aren't really selling in a bad market. It sounds, like an oxymoron like earlier, but it is true. Kind of how like a good market brings all the sellers out, like what we saw in spring of this year. Now over here, you can see as for new listings, yeah, we got a lot, but nowhere near the highs of like 2020 in the pandemic years, which again, kind of like puts us within the historic bounds. And this is why I was saying it's not that huge of an issue at the moment, looking at it historically. The problem with September 2020 relative to where we are right now is all that inventory in September 2020 got absorbed because we got 0.99 mortgage interest rates. I do not think we have that ace in the hole in our back pocket for 2023. So there you have it. It is why Toronto home sales are falling off a cliff and how the Toronto freehold market is just supporting, like shouldering everything of the entire market because the rest of the market is an absolute disaster right now. It is really bad. So I suspect we'll see something similar in October as well. So, be prepared. And a quick debriefer are kind of like what's happening in the interest rate side of the market, like the macro market. The 5-year bond in Canada is shooting up like crazy. It's at, I think, like an 18-year high right now, and which is making the fixed rates go up like crazy as well. And right now, the variable rate and the fixed rate is exactly the same, which when you think about it, makes variable kind of make sense if you needed to get a mortgage right now because, the Bank of Canada is maybe planning to cut interest rates next year. But the bond market is just ramping up right now, making the fixed rates look like it's never going to stop going up. Yeah, so that's something to look out for. Now, as for the variable rate, the next Bank of Canada rate announcement is end of October, and we'll see what they're planning to do. But remember this, inflation has not been nipped in the butt, and we do and should be seeing inflation go up just from base effects, like I was explaining in previous videos. So anyone like looking for a life raft, if they are in kind of like a toughie of a situation, needs to probably extend their time horizon a little bit longer with the interest rate side. Now that is a wrap. And like I was saying earlier, I'm not trying to spread doom and gloom. I'm really not. Like, I'm very rarely like this. It's just I'm giving you the data as transparently and as honestly as I can personally see it, and how I am kind of like advising my clients to navigate it with the information we have, because that's just how I operate, right? So if you are looking for a more personalized analysis of your situation in this current market, you can book a call with me using the link that's right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Until next time, your move, your future. See ya. Hope this helps. Now that I'm done watching this video, I think you should check out this video. And you know what? Why don't you check out this video too?